Welcome back. Junkies on 106.7 The Fan coming up at 8:40. Mix things up. Mr. Skin is going to join us, get his thoughts on the celebrity hack this month, all the nude celebrities. He's an expert in the field.
He is an expert. He's probably the only expert, but he's it.
That's
He's the authority. Well, Valdez aspires to be the next Mr. Skin at some point.
All right, so we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about Michael Sam, why he couldn't find a spot in the NFL, and it appears now that the Dallas Cowboys are going to offer him a spot on their practice squad. But the guy that beat him out for the last defensive end spot on the St. Louis Rams is a guy by the name of Ethan Westbrook. Rookie defensive end. And there is an interesting story about him and his face tattoo.
Yes. Actually, by the way, you screw up S's all the time. He actually has an S at the end of his name.
Yes.
It is.
Ethan
Westbrooks.
Westbrooks.
Like, nobody in the world has an S, but he's got one.
He does.
Yeah.
He's one of a kind.
Right.
So Ethan Westbrooks has a face tattoo, and people were wondering, well, why do you have a face tattoo? And it appears that it's kind of a drama face tattoo.
It's a comedy and a tragedy mask side by side.
He has a huge, massive neck tattoo as well.
Yeah.
Like in the throat area. It's not like the side of the neck, which a lot of people have. It's right over the Adam's apple.
JP's repping the Oaktown, my friend.
Okay. But he has this face tattoo, and people were wondering, well, why do you have a face tattoo? And he said he hated his regular job so much, which happened to be Cakes' first employer, his first full-time job.
He worked at Toys R Us.
That he felt like if he got a face tattoo, he would never, ever be able to get a regular job.
That's
So it
smart.
was motivation.
Make yourself unemployable.
Here's his quote. I was just like, I might as well go ahead and get it on the face because if nothing else, it will help motivate me to either be a guy that has that tattoo on his face looking for another job, or hopefully I make it in the NFL and don't have to work too hard to do something else. He is a world-class idiot. He is like the 53rd man on a roster who would be lucky to have a 2 or 3 year stint in the NFL. So when he's in his mid to late 20s, he's going to be out on the circuit, back on the Joe job circuit, looking for a gig with a stupid tattoo right underneath his left eyeball.
He went on to say, I don't feel it's a bad thing now. I don't regret it. It speaks for itself. By the way, it says, laugh now, cry later.
Right. Listen,
Do we have
Horrible
any
idea.
listeners with face tattoos? Like, I don't know that I've met any of our listeners with a face tattoo, okay? Neck tattoos, I think,
pretty
are fairly
rare.
common. I'd like to hear others chime in on why they got a face tattoo. 800-636-1067. We may not get one call.
Well, the easy thing here is it's a cry for help. I mean, if you have a tattoo on your face,
right.
right? I mean,
Generally speaking.
Look, if you want to get a tattoo, fine. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But if they start creeping up in the neck and the face area, that's where it's a
Here's
big
what I was
red
thinking about.
flag.
What was the tattoo that you wanted to get in
Well,
case?
I wanted to get the Tasmanian devil or the barbed wire across my rippling biceps. But that was 20 years ago.
I just am laughing. What if you put that Tasmanian devil under your left eye?
Well, I would look like a gigantic moron if I did that.
I'm
Or any tattoo on your face.
very much old school about tattoos. I think generally speaking, you kind of look like a donk. The more you get, the more of a donk you look like.
I see
But
some oldsters walking around with tattoos, guys who are like 60,
They usually look
65.
terrible. They're terrible.
I know they regret them. They have to. How could they not?
They just look terrible. Like the ink starts to spread.
Right.
The color fades. They just look awful. But there's one kid I know that's a college football player, and he's going to college playing big time college football.
Yeah.
He's got no tattoos, and I'm pretty sure by the end of his college football career, he'll have a full sleeve on both sleeves will be littered with tattoos. And then what's he gonna do? He's gonna have that for the rest of his life.
Yep.
I mean,
But that is their prerogative. I mean, that happened here with John Wall. John Wall first had no tattoos.
But with
Of course
most,
it's your
all of a sudden he's
prerogative.
got a rack.
but
Of
in
course it's
most
your
of those
prerogative.
cases, if you have to go look for a job, you can cover up those tattoos. You can wear a long sleeve shirt. You can wear a button up shirt to cover up the hideous one on your neck. But if you get it on your face, you can't cover that. You can't go into a job interview wearing a ski mask.
Whatever
That's
happened
not going to fly.
Whatever happened to Mike Tyson getting the other side of his face?
They haven't
Tyson had
gotten
the
around
face
to that
tattoo,
yet.
and he said it was incomplete at the
Right.
time.
Right.
He hasn't done anything
Well, now
since
it's like
then.
well now it's like a
I
signature.
need to do another Hangover movie to be able to afford it.
No, I think he'd afford it. It's become for some reason Tyson makes it work. The tattoos are so mainstream now that we just don't even flinch. But I don't know. I know I was at the beach and I saw all these hillbillies with these girls with the tattoos, and they're pretty girls. My brother and I were sitting there going, "That's a pretty girl. She just ruined her butt. What is she doing? I mean, why is she doing that?" She's got like big ones on the side of her thigh, and then another one on the back of her leg, and then one on her shoulder.
Do women still get the tramp stamp?
No, the thigh tattoo is the new chick tattoo.
Yeah,
They don't
all
do
the sillies are trying to get.
inner
They don't do
or
it on the
outer
back
thigh?
anymore.
I saw the outer
It's the
thigh.
outer thigh?
The outer thigh.
That makes more sense. People would actually be able to see that.
I mean, I don't know. They're pretty girls with like 5 random tattoos on the thigh, on the ankle, on the back of a calf. I just think, what are you doing? What are you doing?
But again, it's not a
But I'm
face
an old
tattoo.
man.
A face tattoo is the ultimate. That is just like, what are you doing with your life where you decided to put a tattoo on your face?
Somebody says that the laugh now, cry later tattoo is a popular gang tat. I have no idea. Maybe it is.
Would it be a stretch? I don't know.
I don't know
Ethan
anything.
Westbrooks is in the gang.
Well, I know this. I know Ethan Westbrooks isn't going to be on an NFL roster in 3 or 4 years.
Very
I know he's
unlikely.
going to be looking for a new gig in 3 or 4 years.
He's not going to be at Toys R Us.
He's going to do it with a goofy tattoo on his face.
Do you realize the hypotheticals going on during the break?
Yes.
I don't know how we can phrase this, but Drab threw out the hypothetical that if Cakes had basically the most embarrassing tattoo a man could have,
Yeah.
which would be of another man's privates on his face, would he do that?
Yes.
What was the rest of the
Would I
hypothetical?
do that to ensure doing this gig for the next 20 years?
No!
And
Or
the other option is no junk tattoo on the face and go work at Toys R Us again for 20 more years. I had to think about
You're
it.
never going to put a tattoo of a man's
course-
genitalia on your face.
Of course I'm not.
Never, under no circumstance. You dig ditches for the rest of your life.
I did ask Trav how big it would be. I did have to try to figure out the parameters of the bet.
But you're not going to do
Don't
that.
let Greg Oden
of
on
course
there.
not.
You know,
Yeah,
what,
I mean,
you know what Steve
I
O
would get a
did?
ROM size junk on my face.
You know what Steve O did in the height of his drug craze? He had his boy. I can't even say.
Yeah, I know what he did.
And then he
I know what he did.
tattooed the mess.
He
on his-
tattooed a pattern, a certain pattern on
Yeah.
his body.
Can you imagine? He also did the bit where he was like on the Jeep and they were spinning around like in the desert and he was having a tattoo put on him at the same time.
And he was probably eating methamphetamines like Skittles too the whole time.
Well, they did the whole porta potty flipping over bit.
Oh, which is just
That's
yeah,
one of
I
the
saw
grossest things
that in the
ever.
theater. I thought I was gonna puke.
yeah.
Gross.
I don't know. Look, God bless him. I hope he has a long career. But I think it's a mistake. But people get used to it. I mean, the tattoos are so mainstream now. Do you think that would it really prevent him from getting a job? I mean, I don't think Warren Buffett would hire him.
It's a Nubs tattoo, too. I don't think that's quality ink work.
Well, it just screams to me that he's a terrible decision maker. The second he walks into the interview room and sits down 4 feet across from me, I'm going to look at his face and I'm going to say, well, you got a tattoo on your face. It's going to be there for the next 60 years. If you make that bad of a decision before I hire you, what sort of decision are you going to make when I give you a job? Another terrible decision.
Had we not started the Sports Junkies, okay, I'd be practicing law. You'd be a guidance counselor, whatever you're doing. Do you think Cakes would still be at Toys R Us right now? I'm pretty convinced he would be.
100% chance. I mean,
course.
there's no doubt.
Cakes?
There's no doubt.
I have no
He'd
idea.
probably-
You're asking me
During
to,
your 5 years
you're
at
asking me to
Toys R
look
Us.
into a crystal ball
No, but-
into my past.
Well, during your
theoretical past.
During your 5 years at Toys R Us,
yes.
did you ever even look for one other job?
I think I did once, now that I look back on it. Once, didn't get it, and I was just like, okay, didn't get that job. Back to the grind. Back to the grind.
No, he'd still be there. He'd still be there, but he'd be big silly.
You think he'd still be smoking cigs?
Oh, yeah.
I would hope not. It's a horrible habit.
But that's probably part of the experience when you're working a job where you're wearing,
Where you're working a job that you hate.
You're wearing the short sleeve button down
Yeah.
shirts.
Any
Which you
excuse
used to wear with a Nubs tie to try and look like you're a manager.
Look, any excuse I could get to get out of that hellhole for 5 to 7 minutes to go take a drag on a Marlboro Light, I would do it from time to time. I would do it. I'm not proud of it, but it's part of my past.
I'm getting crushed here by women that have tattoos. You guys love to show how old you are. So what if a girl's pretty? She shouldn't have a tattoo? I mean, fine. I just think when you start to have too many, it starts to really look weird. I think
It's opinion anyway.
yeah, it's just my dumb opinion.
It's his opinion.
I actually think maybe
What do you care, random tweeter?
I think a sleeve of tattoos might even be better than like a hot chick with one on her thigh, one on her calf, one on her stomach, and one on her back.
And it all depends on the
It's just
line
like a random.
depends on the line of work you're in, too. Look, if you're in a band, go tat yourself up. It's part of the gig. But if you want people to not, like, raise an eyebrow at you, don't walk into a job interview with a sleeve of arm tattoos and a tattoo on your face.
Well, presumably you wouldn't. You know, anytime you're in an interview, you're probably going to wear sleeves,
probably.
right?
Some dopes might not, though.
I don't know.
Just strolling with the tattoos all over the place.
We've met a lot of people doing this show for almost 20 years now. I really don't think I've met somebody with a face tattoo.
And look, generally, I'm fine with tattoos. Just don't get them on your face.
I don't know.
It's a bad look.
I feel like I've met
it's
a
a bad
guy,
bit.
a guy or two with the tear tattoo on their face, which, you know, the old saying was that meant they kill somebody.
Right.
I don't believe that, but
Or the guy with the
Possible.
spider webs on the elbow.
what
That
does
old
that
bit.
one? What does that one mean?
I mean, clearly you're in a gang, right?
Is that right?
Valdez?
I thought it was big No Doubt fans.
Maybe that's it
they
too.
love Gwen Stefani.
I'm sure I know a lot about jailhouse tats.
I don't know anything. We're just
See
all-
that I've never been in jail.
Do you know anything about nude photos, Cakes?
I know more about nude photos than I do about jailhouse tats.
Do you know anything about chicks who are naked in movies?
Not as much as our next guest.
There you go. Mr. Skin's going to join us next. We'll switch gears. Talk about the celebrity hack. Plus, he came out with his 150 greatest celebrity nude scenes of all time. That's next on The Fan.